Today we're doing something at Mike's car store that we've never done before yet in our first 90 days of business. I've got to tell you that everything that's been going on over, and I just said 90 days, it's really just 72 days, if anybody's counting for to be on the record there. But we've done pretty much a lot of things. We've bought bad cars, we bought great cars, we bought cars that we've learned a lot of lessons on. We sold a car that we lost $3,500 on. We'll talk about that maybe in another video. We've bought cars at auction just like this one here. We bought one at a local auction that we went over and picked up, like this Jeep, whatever this is, a Patriot, gosh, I can't think. We bought Chevys, we bought Mazdas. We've had to arbitrate cars because this vehicle right here came from auction and there's some goofiness going on in the rear end. So we've done a lot of different things. We've bought a couple cars off the street, like this Chevy Cruze right here, which by the way, just got a major award from J.D. Power of most reliable and dependable cars on the road. And J.D. Power is a huge advocate for third parties on everything, cars, cell phones, medical, all that stuff. And they don't accept money from anyone out there. So it's nice to see a third-party award go to Chevy that has it. But this is what's really awesome is these folks right here are buying this Honda CR-V for their daughter who's going to IU medical school. And these people have no idea who I was. They simply saw our car on Car Gurus and contacted me about it. They came over on one of the snowy days that we had earlier in the week, and they have came back to purchase the car, or I guess they're coming in to purchase the car. So we've got them hooked up with an awesome bank here locally. The banks that I have signed up, I didn't think had favorable terms for them, so I sent them down to First Harrison Bank, which is a community bank here in Georgetown, Indiana, and Southern Indiana, where we're at. And they're down there right now signing their paperwork, and they should be here any minute with our very first trade-in here at the dealership. Yes, we've never taken a trade-in, and taking a trade-in at a car dealership is extremely tricky. I've got a lot to do before they get here because Mr. Chevy dude's back here doing absolutely nothing. So I like to get the cars all cleaned up. We put some tire shine on it. We made sure it looks good, it's clean. But I just realized I think I need to buy a bow. I mean, how awesome would it be to have a bow on this probably 18, 19-year-old girl that's in college when she pulls in like this and she sees her new car with a bow on it. I mean, my dealership here is not what would be on the surface as see people driving by the most reputable place. We have a gravel parking lot, we have a metal building. It just doesn't look that great, but I'm a firm believer that buildings sell cars. So we're not gonna be staying here for very long. We definitely have some huge dreams to build our own building and all of that good stuff. We just need to figure out some of this stuff. Like, I've never built a building before. I've never built a brick and mortar business. I own several other businesses, but they're all digital. And this is really weird. Like, I have no idea how much stuff's gonna cost me. Is it gonna cost me $1 million? Is it gonna cost me $1.5 million? I don't know. It's very crazy, but we got this all done. They should be here any second now, and you're gonna see this awesome trade that I'm taking in.
A few moments later.
And there they are. Yes, I am excited about this right here. You guys have no idea what this means to our company. All right, so here's their dirty trade-in. And here goes their nice new CR-V. I keep calling it a RAV4, but CR-V, nice and clean, nice and dirty. This is the exact way you trade in a car, I promise you. Right, you can see they are gone because I forgot to hit record when I thought I was recording as they are driving off into the sunset in their brand new Honda. So now we've got this right here, and we've got to talk about why this is so tricky. It's tricky. Before we get into why this is tricky, I want to talk about a favorable approval that I mentioned earlier in the video. And that doesn't mean that it was stupid or bad or high interest rate. When we have a new student, an 18, 19-year-old person on a car loan, and parents have excellent credit, sometimes some banks have different criteria, and that was one of those. I was able to use a direct bank that I have no affiliation with other than send a referral to make sure that I can ensure that they get the best resources. And that's what I try to do with every customer. I don't care if you finance with me, finance with your bank. Obviously, I think Lightstream's a really good source, so you can use that down in the link below. But I just want to make sure you guys understood that it wasn't anything goofy. It's just a new buyer on it. So why is taking an old 40,000 mile Escape in on trade so tricky to a car dealership, especially like ours?
First off, we never know what issues might be happening. You drove it.
Yep.
but something else could be going on.
Yep, we did everything sight unseen, right? We don't need to see it. We ask good questions. I do this every day. For me, it's not a huge concern. What do you think the big trickiest that we talked about?
It's taking in something that we end up taking money off the car, which means the bank is not giving us the full amount of money for the car.
We float the money. We as individuals, we float the money for the trade-in. So if a trade-in's worth $4,000, that's $4,000 we're going to be shorted on from the bank in their check, where if it was just a straight deal, we would have a check straight for that money. So obviously as a consumer, the trade-in's nice because you don't have to deal with consumers. You don't have to put it on Facebook Marketplace. You don't have to deal with people trying to find loans on cars. You don't have to clean it, nothing. You just trade it in and walk away. But that's a lot on us that we have to float that money. So now imagine if we had a trade-in that was worth $30,000 or $35,000 that had a payoff on it, and we have to floor plan that car. That really gets tricky with us as a small dealership. Now, if we're a big franchise dealership, they can float that. It's not that big of a deal. But in this case, we're such new that taking a trade-in this early is very tricky. But it's a risk, just like leaving the dealership, leaving 1,000 Core orders behind and walking out and starting this is a risk. It's a risk that we're willing to take because we can find somebody that's going to be able to use that car. Maybe it's somebody that needs to rebuild credit. This is a perfect car to rebuild credit. There's infinite resources that we can help somebody out. And most importantly, it goes to one of our cars of our 100 right now before we give away our next car. So we're going to sell that car, and it's part of our 100. And you can see some of the names we got here. Now these are just the people who have physically came here. We've shipped cars, and unfortunately, until Google or Facebook or YouTube or someone can come up with a digital way for a customer to sign this wall, a hologram from California, something, we only can have people sign the wall that is local. So Abby, today 2/11, she bought the CRV. Absolutely awesome. She's an artist. This is the awesome son that she built. So that's why a trade-in is so tricky, is simply because we have to float the money for this. And so we can go out and before we sell it, we don't recoup any money until we sell it. So if that's 15 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, that's a lot of money tied up for this brand new business and a risk that we're willing to take. But hopefully with our store, with our pricing strategy, usually within about 20 days, we have all of our cars sold. All right, so this was a video about the first trade-in, but we actually had another first 2 days later because Mrs. Chevy Dude popped her cherry, so scissor me. Yes. So there's this huge cliche in the car business that when you sell your first car, stand up, get over here.
What?
We're cutting your hair. Come here. Ceremonial, you have to cut your tie after your first sale. So congratulations.
You do realize you're cutting your own tie.
This is your tie. They don't need to know that we staged this part of it. All right. Boom. There we go. We cut her tie. Mrs. Chevy Dude popped her cherry. Got her first car sale because I was busy, and I even got a picture of her at the desk with the customers, and we're super excited. Congratulations. You'll never do this again. So since we have our first customer, I think it's just as good as that we put up Mrs. Chevy Dude's first sale, and we'll put the tie right there.